Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The November 21st, 2025 meeting of the Medford Site Plan Architectural Commission will now come to order. Amanda, can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Pierce.
Here.
Mr. Bender. Mr. Camiller. Mr. Niehammer.
Present.
Mr. Akery.
Here.
Ms. Powell.
Present.
Mr. Thomas.
Here.
And Mr. Whitlock.
Here.
We have 6.
Very good. We have a quorum. First item 20 is our consent calendar. This was a request for a one-year time extension of a project AC 23-257. Is there any discussion on this item? All right. May we have a motion to move this accordingly? Mr. Whitlock?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move the Commission approve the one-year extension of this project to November 3rd of 2026 at the applicant's request.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay. Can we have roll call, please?
I do have just one comment.
Okay.
Haven't we been doing these as an additional item in the past, or have we been doing them on the consent calendar?
They're typically consent items.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Pierce.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Mr. Akery.
Yes.
Ms. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Niehammer.
Yes.
Mr. Whitlock.
Yes.
And Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
We have 6 yeses.
Excellent. The consent calendar will be accepted as presented. Item 30 is approval of the minutes from the November 7th, 2025 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to be noted? Mr. Whitlock.
Madam Chair, actually a couple of things that I'd like to ask about. One is that I would request there's basically a slang reference in the middle of page 3 to making a U-turn. And I think that slang reference should be changed to making a U-turn to avoid using that slang that might be considered inappropriate by some persons. And the second thing I would like to ask is there are a lot of conversations that are reflected in the minutes. The minutes weren't received until last night. I'm an old retired guy who had plenty of time to review the minutes, but if everyone has not fully reviewed the minutes, I would ask that we postpone approval of these until the next meeting. As I say, from my perspective, I'm prepared. No other changes from my perspective, but if everyone has not had a chance to read them, I think they should speak up and we should postpone the final approval of these minutes to the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Whitlock. Commissioners, have you all had an opportunity to read the minutes?
Yes. Yes.
I did not make it entirely through,
Okay.
but I don't mind either way you guys go.
Are you in support of Mr. Whitlock's motion to have these approved at our next meeting?
Actually, it wasn't so much a motion at this point. If anyone wanted more time, I wanted to afford them that opportunity. If everybody's comfortable with them as presented, as I said, I had enough time to read them and carefully think about them. Honestly, I had enough problems remembering even my discussions and the responses, let alone those of other people on the commission. So I just wanted to afford the opportunity, if Ms. Powell or anybody else wanted more time, to do that. If she's comfortable moving forward, then I say we could have final approval.
All right. If there's no further discussion, then we'll go ahead and move forward with the minutes corrected per Mr. Whitlock's comments. All right. Thank you. Item 40 is oral requests and communications from the audience. This is an opportunity for members of the audience to address the commission on matters that are not on today's agenda. If you wish to speak, please come forward to the podium and sign in and tell us your name and your concern. Are there any members in the audience that are not here to speak on this item? Okay, I didn't think so. All right, that takes us to item 50, public hearings. If you plan to testify, please listen carefully to the following prepared statement regarding the procedural rules that govern such a hearing. This will be read by David Schambach, Senior Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to explain the rules that govern this hearing. Before the hearing begins, city staff will give a report. The report will list the criteria that govern the city's decision. After the staff report, the hearing will be open for other speakers. The applicant will speak first and may ask for rebuttal time. Following the applicant, any other interested person will be allowed to speak. Before the hearing is closed, anyone who needs more time to present evidence must ask for more time. If you ask, the hearing will be continued or the record will be kept open, and you will have at least 7 days to present additional written evidence. Any testimony, argument, or evidence you give must relate to the criteria listed in the staff report or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or land use regulations that you believe apply to the decision. If you fail to raise an issue or do not give the commission sufficient information so that the commission and any party can respond, you will be unable to appeal that issue to the Land Use Board of Appeals. If you do not raise constitutional or other issues about any proposed condition with specificity so that the commission can respond to that issue, you will not be able to bring a court action for damages. Also, I want to make a comment regarding the November 7th hearing that took place. During the public hearing, there were some comments made regarding subsidized housing and pending applications. And I would just like to note for everyone that those communications were impermissible under the Fair Housing Act and may not be considered in any forthcoming commission decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schambach. In order to proceed through today's agenda in a timely manner, applicants giving testimony will be given 10 minutes to present their application. Individuals who have comments about these applications will be given 3 to 5 minutes. If representing a group or organization, 5 minutes will be given to each applicant for rebuttal. Ms. Aiken, do we want to go ahead and follow last hearing and have you go through these 3 items, or would you like me to?
I'm happy to do that, Madam Chair. I also have a short statement. So this is as I mentioned at the last hearing, this is an unusual situation where we have 3 applications for basically one project. So what we will do is take any public testimony for all 3 projects at one time. Staff will give one very brief presentation. We won't repeat what we heard at the last meeting. Excuse me. So anybody that wants to speak, they're free to give testimony to one specific application or all 3, the project as a whole. As usual, after our staff presentation, the applicant will go first, and then anybody that wants to speak will be invited down to do so. At the end of all testimony, we'll ask the commission to make a motion for each application separately. I understand today, I think the applicant will ask to continue this item again. We'll have some discussion about the First Street extension. And then I also wanted to note that the public hearing remained open from the last meeting. So if it's okay with you, I'll go ahead and read the items to the record.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So item 50.1 is AC 25-190, consideration of plans for the construction of 13 multifamily structures on approximately 12.5 acres. The development is called Haya Park Phase 1A, and it's located south of Coal Mine Road, east of North Phoenix Road, within the Community Commercial Zoning District. The applicant is Ramsey Fakuri. Item 50.2, AC 25-191, consideration of plans for the construction of 13 multifamily structures on approximately 12.09 acres. The development is called Haya Park Phase 1B and is located south of Coal Mine Road, approximately 750 feet east of North Phoenix Road, within the multifamily residential 30 dwelling units per gross acre zoning district. The applicant is John Botala. Item 50.3, E25-324, consideration of an exception request to build a turnaround inside the public right-of-way at the southerly end of Quarter Lane. The exception request is to the cul-de-sac standards in Medford Land Development Code Section 10.450. The agent for all 3 items is Dan Horton, who is also with us in the in the audience today, and our staff planner is Stefan Ronfeld. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Kelly. Does any commissioner have any conflict of interest, ex parte contact, or site visits to disclose regarding this application?
Madam Chair, as contained in the record, I have a potential conflict of interest regarding items 50.1, 50.2, and 50.3 on today's agenda. Therefore, I'm going to recuse myself from participating in a decision-making process where agenda items 50.1, 50.2, and 50.3. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr.
Thank you,
Whitman?
Madam Chair. So I've had a number of conversations with staff about something I'm going to describe here shortly pertaining to these issues. As legal counsel knows, and I assume most of the commission, but probably not the public, conversations with staff are not ex parte communications, but out of fairness to the applicant and basically transparency to the commission and everybody else involved, I'd like to report that I spent a significant amount of time with staff and working on my own, looking at a different I guess, solution to the transportation issues related to this project. In particular, I would have been prepared today to make a motion to require the extension of the proposed First Street, which is at the southerly end of both of these projects, extending it westerly across that short parcel to connect to North Phoenix Road. It would have to be improved to appropriate city street standards. Because that intersection has never been studied, there would need to be a limited traffic impact analysis to analyze the vehicle trips that would be shifted away from coal mine as initially proposed by applicant, and to identify basically the appropriate type of intersection and control movements that would be required at the intersection of First Street and North Phoenix Road. My motion would have required the closure of A Street at its northerly terminus to prevent access onto Coal Mine Road. It would require the selection of option C for traffic mitigation at the Coal Mine Road and Quarter Lane intersection, but it would eliminate in option C the proposed changes to traffic movements at the Coal Mine Road and North Phoenix Road intersection, and that's because changes to that would require a new full traffic impact analysis per staff. It would also include eliminating the left turn movement from Coal Mine Road onto Quarter Lane and constructing a full median across that intersection. I was also prepared to add some Nolan-Dolan findings to support this different approach and the exaction that would create. So like I said, out of fairness to everyone, not really an ex parte contact, but I wanted to make everyone aware that from my perspective, this is the best solution to extend that First Street to the west and to basically maximize to the greatest extent possible the turning movements that are currently available on Quarter Lane to those residents. Sorry about that lengthy explanation, but I wanted to make certain that everybody knows what my thinking is with respect to that. And I do want to add for the record clearly that that is my thinking at this point and does not represent any decision that the commission might intend to make. Thank you for that opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you. You've been very busy.
We're talking about ex parte still. So I'm just going to go on record once again saying that I have done site visits and I have lived in that area for about 3 or 4 years ago, and I do have clients, friends, and family who are in that area. I don't think it will hinder a decision on my end of complete unbiasedness whatsoever, but I do want to go ahead and say on the record again that I have made plenty of site visits and am quite aware of that area.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Does anyone in the audience wish to question the commission on their conflicts of interest? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead with the staff report.
Before I get started, Mr. Whitlock, your wife needs the car keys.
Pardon?
Your wife needs the car keys?
Actually, Mr. Needhammer has those, but thank you for,
I don't know. I'm
thank
just
you.
just a
Yeah,
messenger here.
I actually got the same message, and since Bob was going to step down, I asked him to take my keys with him.
Problem solved.
Thank you for that.
All right.
Practical problems created by me, so my apologies to
That
the
was easy.
commission.
Okay, Stefan Rumpel with the Planning Department. I prepared a very brief report today. Like Kelly said, we've had discussions with the applicant earlier this day, and I think we've come to an agreement to continue this application out to our next meeting on December 5th. So I'm just gonna remind everybody what we're talking about. I'm skipping over all this, and once we have our I want to say final meeting, I'll do a more thorough presentation again. So we are located in southeast Medford. We're looking at a development area of about 22 acres. We have zoning of community commercial and MFR 30 over the 4 parcels. And then this is the entire master plan for the proposed project, but we're only looking at this area up at the very north end of the project. So that's south of Coal Mine Road and east of North Phoenix Road. And like I said, this is not this area of this application as of now. What's new in the revised staff report from what we originally published is, so we cleaned up the record. We included all the public comments that we received. We addressed many of the concerns that the public has in the record too. There's a revised public works report in there, and there's also a revised fire department report. And then you should have received 2 more emails today before the meeting with additional comments from the neighbors. And I think at that point, I'm not going to go over all the options that are available as of now, since, like I said earlier, I think we're trying hard to make that First Street connection work, working with the applicant, working with the traffic engineer at this point, but it's just too short a notice to have any actual news for you at this point. So if there's any questions for me or for staff at this time, I think.
Mr. Whitlock.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Stefan, one of the reasons that we talked about continuing the hearing last time was to find out what option the Quarter Lane residents might prefer. So I looked at all of those comments, and frankly, I couldn't see any consensus. Is staff aware of effectively what the majority of those property owners would prefer in terms of the option?
Might be a better question for Mr. Burrows, but I had the feeling that they preferred the turnaround option. That was the option B. That's what I got out of it, but I don't think there was a clear consensus.
The turnaround meaning the hammerhead?
The hammerhead, sorry.
Yeah, actually, I had 2 people saying they absolutely didn't want to do that, only 1 in favor. So
Yeah.
I know that was staff's, or at least Public Works' preferred option.
I think
No, it wasn't either. That's true.
Yeah, I think that shifted to option A. And let me see if I have them in there, so we know what we're talking about.
What, is it B?
So that's option, like Mr. Horton just said in the background, if we extend First Street, many of those options will be moot, and there'll be, I believe,
Right.
just a median on Quarter Lane.
It would be moot, but I don't know. As I said, I was trying to decide if there really was a true, clear consensus or agreement from the Quarter Lane residents as to which of the 4 options they would prefer. I assume they also don't like the do nothing option, which is D.
Yeah.
It's not clear to me whether all of them or a majority like the hammerhead as proposed, and effectively the realignment of coal mine.
Of Coal Mine, yeah.
Anyway, if you aren't aware of any specific
No, maybe we have
preference-
more neighbors from Quarter Lane in the audience today.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have questions of staff?
I do have some more, if you don't
Okay.
mind, Madam Chair.
Please continue.
So a number of the opponents requested deferral of this project, and I just wanted to clarify for the record, and you can say yes or no, but I understand that state law would require our decision within 120 days of a complete application, except for extensions requested by the applicant.
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah, so we really can't defer this indefinitely. We have a clock that's running
And I
at
believe
this
there
point.
is a, Kelly, what is it, 180? What's the time limit for?
So Kelly Aiken with your planning department, under the statute, the 120-day clock can be extended by the applicant up to 245 days. So the city has to render a final decision within 365 days from the date it was deemed complete, depending on how far out the applicant continues.
Right, and like you said, that's only if the applicant requests that maximum 245 days, which would bring the entire approval period for basically a year.
Correct.
Thank you. And a couple more, if nobody else on the commission wishes to speak, or at least one more. So there were also some comments in there about the shared use path. And can you please explain those shared use path comments that are in the Parks memo and basically the Purslow and Cook comments in the record? Do you know exactly what that looks like?
I don't want to speak for the Parks Department. on
Okay.
that.
I just
don't-
couldn't understand what Parks Department was saying because they were actually adding modified comments to an original thing that I had not seen, so.
We can try to get some clarification from the Parks Department before we publish again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not important for my purposes. I just thought if staff was aware of exactly what was intended by Parks memo, that we could hear what that said.
I'm not too familiar
Yeah,
with.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience, Commission and Madam Chair.
Ms. Powell?
I do have a question. So we're looking at this diagram or this photo at this hammerhead, and is this going to be, please remind me, is this going to be opened up in, at any point, or will this all forever stay a hammerhead? Will it be conjoined at some point? I don't remember if we discussed that last time.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Defer to our traffic experts in the Public Works Department.
Good evening, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. I'm Doug Burrows with the Public Works Department. So, quarter lane option B, the hammerhead, which is why there's an exception request. No, I don't think it would ever connect. I think that was the whole point, is to close the road. But as Mr. Horton kind of said a couple minutes ago, if we do the First Street connection, which I think sounds like they're pursuing, which is why they want to continue, then options, all the other options are kind of a moot point. I think as Rick mentioned earlier, the option C modified would still kind of happen. There still need to be a median at Quarter Lane to control traffic through there, but even just organically by having First Street connect to North Phoenix, there's going to eliminate a lot of people trying to cut through Quarter Lane, but we still don't want people to do that. So, yeah, I think if we get a positive momentum on a First Street connection, then option B will go away, option A will go away, and the do nothing plan will go away, and option C will be more of just a modified version.
I too would like to see all that occur. Mr. Whitlock's opinion is absolutely wonderful and well-founded. I was just kind of thinking if it didn't come to fruition, if we would be circling back to the other options as options again. So that's the only reason why I was asking.
I think we would. Yes.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions of staff?
Yes, Mr. Burrows? Nice try.
You could have warned me. Oh, I mean, you did, but yes.
Well, as I expressed in great length in my comments before, I would really like further exploration of this extension of First Street option. You and I had a lengthy conversation a couple days ago about how that might work. And I wonder if you could just kind of basically tell the commission about what this might entail. First of all, the relative costs, perhaps, of that westerly extension of First Street to intersect with North Phoenix Road. You told me that, first of all, that has not really ever been studied, correct? By a traffic study?
The cost
or
of this,
impact?
which part? The intersection?
Yes.
Excuse me. No, that's what the applicant will need to do to pursue that, connection.
And you told me that it would require basically a limited traffic impact analysis.
Yes, it would. It'd be we call it a safety analysis, basically to test the safety of that First Street connection. And also would help identify the configuration of that intersection. Would it need a right turn lane northbound right turn lane, like the zone change required for Coal Mine Road in North Phoenix, that requires a northbound right turn lane. Would this intersection require it? So those types of things will kind of flesh out through the TIA.
And the option C, as initially proposed by the applicant, would have included some changes to the movements at the intersection of Coal Mine Road and North Phoenix Road, correct?
Correct, yeah, they introduced a southbound left turn lane into Coal Mine Road, which was not supported by the TIA for the original zone change for that property, and so that's why that's why we're not for it. We can't just say, okay, yeah, let's throw in a left turn in there. The TIA did not support that, and so it's a condition of the zone change to have a right in, right out thank you, Stefan, for showing that. As this diagram shows over here, it'd be just a right in, right out at North Phoenix and Coal Mine. That configuration cannot change unless the zone change is opened up. A new TIA is looked at to justify any changes to that intersection.
Right. And is staff supportive of the extension of First Street to the west to connect with North Phoenix Road?
Yes, I think with the TIA being done for that area and identifying what this intersection is going to look like there, yeah, we would absolutely support that extension happening.
Great. And would staff be willing to put together some Nolan-Dolan findings to address that exaction?
Yeah, we try to put together findings on every application that we do. Whenever we're asking for street improvements, we always include some Nolan-Dolan findings. There is some, as you mentioned, differences in what would be required for First Street over what was originally proposed, and that was, I can go through those if you'd like real quickly.
Please.
I think this drawing will probably suffice. It's not exactly to scale, but that's okay. So as you know, First Street was going to be built with Phase 1A, but only to the point where it intersected with the existing canal, which is about where, let's say, my mouse is here. From that point west, it was not going to be built until future phases. It was not included in the transportation analysis, and that property south of the canal was also not included in the zone change. So there's a lot of complications with trying to develop that side of the property. We determined that to extend the street, limited a TIA would only be required to do that. They would not have to go through a zone change per se. If they wanted to change any of the current conditions related to the zone change, they would need to open that up. But just to connect the street, they wouldn't have to do that. So that was a good realization. With the First Street connection, they would not have to realign Coal Mine Road around a hammerhead if that option was selected. The amount of improvements to realign Coal Mine around the hammerhead are almost, I would say, equal in length to the amount of First Street that they're going to have to extend beyond what they're already planning to do. Secondly, we would eliminate A Street altogether, not just a connection at Coal Mine as public, but the whole thing wouldn't need to be public anymore. It's not required to be public to meet block length. So that's a whole lot of street that you don't have to build to public standards. So connecting First Street, I mean, as far as a street construction aspect goes, there's a lot less of improvements than A Street and realigning Coal Mine Road. There's some other elements to it. One is crossing the canal. Okay, that's different, or addition. Then the whole North Phoenix intersection is also different. Some of those improvements at the intersection would most likely qualify for SDC credits, so that matches or meets the proportionality challenge of a Dolan argument. But there could be parts that wouldn't. So, until we get to TIA, we're not quite sure where that would fall. But I think overall, I think cost-wise, I don't think it's going to be a lot more money to do, or even any more money to connect First Street. It's probably more of a timing issue than anything. So.
And I think it's pretty clear that shifting traffic to the south and to that First Street access would basically mitigate the substantial amount of additional traffic that is currently proposed onto Coal Mine Road, right? I mean, it's like a no-brainer to say some of it is definitely going to go south.
Oh, absolutely. I think
Literally,
most of
not
it will go to First Street, especially as the build-out continues and it develops further to the south. First Street will, I think, and no doubt, will act as the essential main entrance to the project. So,
And I also understood that the Phase 1B, the application to the east, would require two accesses for fire safety, and that it would require either Street A remain open, or it would require that First Street extension that we've been talking about. Is that right? Did that make sense?
it made total sense to me. I'm going to let Tanner, Mr. Farrington,
Perfect.
excuse me, Tanner, answer that question. And if you have anything else for me, I'll stay close.
Maybe you could hang close. I may have a couple additional.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. Tanner Farrington, Fire Marshal. Thank you for the question, Mr. Mitlock, and Tanner's just fine. Doug doesn't have to be Mr. Farrington. So to answer your question, yes. With the arrangement, actually, Stefan, would you mind pulling up just the original plan? So, I'll just go over this briefly because we kind of talked about it last time. So, there's certain requirements that trigger multiple access points. Because of the arrangement of this site, so let's say A Street and C Street are farther to the east and farther to the west. In theory, if Phase A, for example, you've got B Street and then A Street were farther to the west, it could meet the remoteness requirements for those two access points. Same with Part B. If this were developed and they developed a portion of B Street and then shifted C Street to the east, that would satisfy those remoteness requirements. With the way they're proposed, it wouldn't meet the remoteness requirements with just A Street and B Street for Phase A or B Street and C Street for Phase B. So because of the arrangement, there would be a requirement for either an access easement for emergency access to connect these streets. And so A Street would be in that connection. So let's say B goes first, C down to the south, over across either along this private access or First Street, and then up to A Street would be required. Or as an alternative, they could construct C Street and then First Street and then the connection out to Coal Mine. And that actually provides greater distance and actually a more ideal scenario. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. You did it more artfully than I tried to ask the question.
Okay.
But the thrust of it is that the First Street extension is probably a better approach for fire safety and access and emergency egress from the area?
I would agree with that based on the distance. The more distance there is between those access points, the better. And then also if that's a full movement versus a right in, right out, that's ideal as well. We're not asking people in an emergency to go over or basically make an illegal movement. So I would agree with that statement, that it provides additional safety. Questions were asked last time. It was brought up a lot. Is it safe the way it is right now? Again, I will say it is reasonably safe if they construct it the way it is. However, First Street, for a lot of reasons, with a full movement turn, I believe provides additional layers of safety for the people in this community.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Any more comments, Mr. Whitlock?
Actually, for Mr. Burrows again. This is another concept that we discussed in our phone conversation earlier in the week, and that has to do with the ability of the developer to create a developer reimbursement district, which might allow them to seek proportional contributions for others who might use this street, effectively any of those to the south potentially. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, Doug Burrows, Public Works, just for the record. Are you referring to First Street, Mr. Whitlock?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, we don't see developer reimbursement districts too often anymore, but there is such a thing, and they could seek to form one. And in that case, it's in effect for 10 years, and anyone else that ties to the system would have to pay their prorated share of those improvements. And in this case, I think you're right. It would just be the property to the south of First Street, if they ever chose to develop, which I think they're in the UGB, but they haven't annexed or anything like that, so.
I think that it concludes my questions of staff, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I have a question, actually, and it could be neither here nor there or pertinent at this time, but this is an educational for myself kind of question. At what point, like how many residences do we need before one of these streets, or I guess in general across the city, how many residences do we need to see before a light is triggered?
Traffic signal at like Wanapero or something?
Sure. Either First
Yeah,
Street, Wanapero, Coal Mine. I
Yeah.
mean, choose, you know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that off the top of my head, and it could be, may not be that simple. They got a restricted zoning, and they had to pay a proportional share for that signal at Wanapero and North Phoenix, but none of it said they had to do it yet. It wasn't big enough to say they had to do it yet. Yeah,
I
so-
understand that. I'm just thinking because there's so many, hundreds of acres over there, and I would imagine it would slowly be brought into the UGB. But so I was just asking more of like a future kind of generational kind of education question, because at one point, I would assume there's going to be a lot more homes back there than we're even talking about today. So I was just curious.
It's a great question. Like I said, I don't know if it breaks down that simply like, oh, if you have this many units, and obviously you're going to have to change that. It probably depends where, when, and their movements, and that's where the TIA comes in and our traffic counts, and we'll say, hey, this intersection's failing. We need to do something
Okay.
now. And so that's probably what's going to trigger it at further studies. So,
I
and
would
there will be
imagine
more
it'd be some
studies
years.
when they come in for more development on this
Yeah.
to the south of this location.
I would imagine it'd be some years down the road. I was just curious, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Whitlock, I see you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, this harkens to the conversation that we had with Carl McNair last meeting about warrants and that complicated process of all the factors that go into when a traffic light is warranted, which
Yes.
is why they call it a warrant system.
Yes.
Thank
exactly.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Does the commission have any more questions of staff? All right, then we're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing and welcome the applicant or agent.
Good afternoon, Dan Horton, agent for Haya Park. Basically, we'd like to request a continuance of this hearing to sort out the A Street, the First Street connection. We are in favor of that, and so I've already talked to the traffic engineer to get them started on the traffic count. I've talked to the civil engineer to start working on preliminary engineering to get across the irrigation ditch, et cetera. So we're in the process of trying to make that happen.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
No?
Thank you for that, though.
Of course, no way.
She looked at both of us.
I was actually going to, one of the questions I wanted to ask Mr. Horton is if you had any sense from the neighbors as to whether there is in fact a consensus as to the option that the Quarter Lane residents would prefer.
Yeah, I've not had any input from them. My thought at this point is if we connect First Street out, most of those options go away. We will put a median in there to stop the direct traffic from Street B from cutting through. So there'll be a median, but there will not be a turnaround, will not be a one-way. It'll be pretty much like it is with the median in coal mine.
If I may, to Mr. Horton, some of the neighbors requested consideration of basically lower stories on coal mine and then kind of increasing the height of the buildings to the south. And I know part of that is in there. You start with 2-story next to coal mine and then graduate to larger behind. Has there been any consideration for even lower on Coal Mine Road?
We're basically MFR 30 zoning, we're required to have a certain density. And in order to get that density, we have to do multiple stories. And so I'm not sure that if we were to reduce down to a single story, well, I know if we went to a single story, we'd have issues with our density.
Makes sense.
So we did start with 2-story. If you actually go out there and take a look at the site, the houses across the street, which are about 120 feet away, are considerably higher. And, the ground all slopes to the south. And so it's not going to look like a 2-story right in front of you. And as you go further down the hill, those 3 stories are down another 6 or 8 feet. So from across the street, it's going to look like a, pretty much level as 2-story buildings all the way through there. So yeah, we did consider that, but because of those factors, we're not able to go single story.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ms. Powell?
Are you referring to the taller building? And I do know a lot about that elevation and that slope right in there. So were you referring to the 2-story, or is it, I don't even know how many of them, is it Gold Reyes? There's like an apartment condo complex right on that corner already. Are you talking about that height of the building?
I'm not sure I understand your question. I have a hard time hearing. But the buildings right along coal mine on Part B, which are across the street from the existing development, those are 2-story buildings.
The housing development or those apartments across the street? Because there's apartments and then there's housing.
It'd be the housing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And those, like I say, the separation between the housing and the apartments is about 120 feet. So it's pretty good distance. And there's some drop. So, it's not going to be like you've got this real tall 2-story right in your backyard.
Mr. Whitlock did.
Kind of one final question at this point, Mr. Horton, and that is that if the new proposal to extend First Street to the west works out from your client's perspective, or we do not go with the hammerhead option, would you and the applicant be willing to withdraw that exception request?
Yes, we would.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other questions of the applicant? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you wish to reserve any rebuttal time?
I just wanted to ask Mr. Horton, if I might, Madam Chair. I just wanted to confirm the date for continuance.
let's continue for the next meeting, which is about 2 weeks from now.
So December 5th is our next
Right.
regular meeting.
And then we can update you as to where we are with regard to putting together the information needed for connection of First Street.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
And I don't know, do we need to reserve time for rebuttal if we're keeping the public record open, or?
At this point, I think we could, if he wants to
Okay.
speak, rebut today, and then we can do it again at the next
Okay,
meeting. Thank you.
very good, thank you.
Madam Chair, for my purposes, if he has something to say in response to any comments that are made today, I think it would be helpful to hear them now.
I agree.
Rather than wait 2 weeks. So
I agree.
my preference would be that we allow him rebuttal time if he wishes to respond to anything that's said today.
I
Thank
agree,
you.
thank you. So at this time, we will welcome any persons in the audience that wish to come forward and speak on this application. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, sign your name, there's a clipboard if you haven't already, and then please state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your service to our community. My name is Vicki Purslow, and I live at 3916 Colorado Drive. Simply put, I ask that you defer your vote on the proposed Haya development until such time you can review all traffic studies and emergency responses for North Phoenix Road between Grove and Barnett. My public information request to EXO for emergency service responses showed an increase in motor vehicle accidents on North Phoenix Road. We have already exceeded last year's call volume, and we can expect increasing numbers of incidences with the holiday season. I submitted a public information request for all traffic studies, formal and informal, and the city's attorney responded that it would take approximately 40 hours to compile at the cost of $3,500 to me. So I wonder if that means that this commission or the planning department even have these studies readily available to inform such an important decision. If traffic studies haven't been provided to and reviewed by the commission, I urge you to defer a vote on this application. There is too much development occurring with Medford Creek Phase 8 and South Stage roads underway to move forward without a traffic analysis, especially in the context of increasing motor vehicle accidents. Previous testimony from residents includes serious concerns about increasing traffic and public safety. Some have come to this committee hoping you will require the addition of traffic signals. Traffic concerns are real, and our lived experiences speak volumes. The city of Medford designated North Phoenix Road as a regional artery, yet it exists, as the road exists, it fails to meet those standards. The funding has not been secured for the road widening to meet those standards, and current city plans show that the funding is contingent upon partnerships not yet identified. Please do not approve the addition of 490 housing units that rely on North Phoenix Road for ingress and egress. The infrastructure simply isn't there. Doing so will impede our city's most important mission, public safety. I'm not anti-development, and I would support this proposal, but only after the funds are secured and work well underway for the entirety of North Phoenix Road. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lori Buchanan. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My home is on 3811 Coal Mine Road. It's directly impacted, and my view is going to be this development. Basically, I do have a question, and I appreciate Mr. Whitlock, your initiative in doing some work on this. My question is there a way to eliminate Road B and just open up A and C instead of it just pouring right into our front yard, basically? That would still give you two roads out and a first street would be amazing. But just eliminating that middle road would eliminate a lot of the problems. So I don't know if that's even an option.
I think staff may be able to respond to that, but there could be some block length concerns and other things associated with that.
Okay. I don't know, just looking at it, I'm like, why, if there's just no way to eliminate that main middle road, it wouldn't lead right into our front yard. Also, at looking at this, I would hope that well-designed multifamily housings should include buffers and green setbacks to single-family transition zones, which I don't really feel like there's much of a buffer between our single-family homes and these multifamily homes. Basically, the only existing home, as being the only existing home that directly faces this new development, we talked a lot about Coeur d'Alene, but this still affects us quite a bit. We're on that corner of that triangle. So I don't know how that would affect us necessarily. I know the First Street definitely would help. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out to you and see if there's any additional ideas. So thank you for your listening.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before you leave, ma'am. So we're looking at this project summary map.
Yes.
Your home is across coal mine.
It's on coal mine.
Is it near where the phase word starts there?
Let's see, right there, right where right on that corner.
Thank you.
And your driveway is literally coming out toward that like little black square?
Exactly.
Is there any way to route your driveway another direction? I don't know. I
No,
haven't
it
looked.
comes straight out onto coal mine.
Okay.
Thank you for your testimony. Are there any other individuals in the audience that would like to come forward and speak?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Jim Buchanan. I'm also on 3811 Coal Mine Road. And as Lori had mentioned, yeah, that's a great picture right there. We are right there, and as you can see, our driveway comes directly out to Coal Mine Road. There has been a lot of talk about Coeur d'Alene, but no talk about Coal Mine Road, where we live. It would be good, as Rick Whitlock has mentioned, to get a consensus not only on Coeur d'Alene, but also for us on Coal Mine Road. Again, as testimony has been, or issues have been brought up, we don't have any problems with development, but when development impacts us and Coeur d'Alene, then those concerns, and I thank the commission for looking at all different ways, but our concern was it's all talked about Coeur d'Alene, but nothing has been talked about Coal Mine, where we directly live. So again, that First Street would, I think, alleviate a lot of the problems. And then, as Lori mentioned, is there another option to just have two instead of that one right in the middle, which would be coming right out from our home? And so if we can get an agreement, if builders, Public Works, everything could get a consensus from Coeur d'Alene and from us of different opportunities, different ways to be able to do this, it would be appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stefan, can you zoom out on this, please? And now that, slightly back in. So that road right there between 1492 and 1493, if that's going to go straight down, that'll be Road B?
Yes.
And then Road C is, where's that going to come in at? So like,
Somewhere to the right there.
okay, on the other side of that intersection now. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Burrows, I didn't know if you wanted to speak now regarding whether or not moving those streets impacts or influences the block length that Mr. Whitlock mentioned.
Hi, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, Doug Burrows again, back for more. I don't know. We'd have to look at that. I think it's entirely possible that it may not be needed if you have A Street and C Street. So typically we like streets to line up with other streets. In this case, we don't. So yeah, I mean, that's something I think the applicant could look at. Maybe they can retain some of the connection within their site, but does it have to connect to coal mine? Well, maybe not, especially if you have two other streets. The street spacing is, I think they may very well fall into the minimum block spacing or the maximum block spacing therefore too. So, but that's something that maybe they could look at.
Okay.
And then you wouldn't necessarily need, you still might need a median because we don't want people turning up coal mine or coming down to get into A Street. But yeah, it's something that could definitely be looked at. Any project, there's tons of ways you can lay them out and orient your streets and your connectivity points. And so it could absolutely be looked at, and we'd be happy to work with the applicant if you wanted to pursue that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hold it, Mr. Burrows.
I'll just kind of
Madam
wait
Chair,
here
if I may.
Please.
I think the other thing is, and I kind of pointed this out last time, is that the code and frankly state law requires that this commission approve applications. So basically all the judgment calls that go into creating a subdivision, as long as it meets the standards that the city has. So I just kind of want to make everybody aware that we don't get to redesign things because we would like it to be a different way. If an application meets the requirements, our obligation is to approve it. And then in this particular case, we've been given more discretion than we almost ever get, because there has been this question about the type of intersection and how we can appropriately deal with the traffic. So the bottom line is, if the applicant chose to eliminate B Street, that's one thing, but I think it would be difficult for this commission to force the applicant to remove B Street. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for that clarification. I think it's appreciated by all. Any other questions for Mr. Burrows while he's up here?
I'd rather bring it back up later personally.
Okay. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
I'll be
Mr.
here, don't
Burrows.
worry about it.
Are there any other members? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Gregory Abel. I'm a business owner in the city of Medford. My business partner, James Grantland, started the business in 1977. Although Mr. Grantland retired from the active practice of law in December of 2024, the business continues to operate. Two of our clients, James and Maggie Lohman, purchased property, their final home, if you will, on Coal Mine Road in 2013. At the time, Coal Mine Road was a very rural, residential, quiet street. It's clearly changed since that time. Beginning with the development of the Southeast Plan, James and Maggie Lohman were partners in the development that developed Coeur d'Alene. Our business was involved in that process. The Southeast Plan required that Coal Mine Road, after the development of Coeur d'Alene, would be closed to through traffic. And as a result of that, we were able to develop Coeur d'Alene as a residential-only street. I can confirm to you that the subgrading, the grading, and the asphalt are not compatible with modern Medford street standards. To allow traffic through and on Coeur d'Alene not only disrespects the Southeast Plan, it creates substantial problems for city maintenance, as that street was never designed for high traffic. In fact, they developed 5 homes on Coeur d'Alene, which is the lowest possible traffic impact. not only commercial and single-family residences. The idea is a couple trips in the morning and a couple trips in the evening, and that's it. The asphalt should last longer if that continues to be used. To this day, one of the homes on that property, on that street, were purchased by the daughter of James and Maggie Lohman. So I also represent a resident of Coeur d'Alene, who is, I can speak, whether or not the residents are concerned, they're very, very concerned as it changes not only the nature of the street, but the value of their property. If all of a sudden, it's a through street supporting a very large development just across a very narrow road to their south. They're very opposed to putting that much traffic, any amount of traffic, on Coeur d'Alene. It's not set up so that you can widen Coeur d'Alene because the housings on either side is so narrow that there is no way to improve Coeur d'Alene to meet different standards. That has to be considered. Looking at the plans that are submitted, they're very, very concerned. Everybody involved, having been a resident on Coal Mine Road, in 2020 during Alameda Fire, although some of them not directly affected, understood what will happen if all of us have to leave at the same time. The bottleneck going down North Phoenix, as it's really the only way out, unless you start going through neighborhoods, is going to put a tremendous amount of pressure. As a result, since they can't and don't wish to take away another person's rights to develop their property, clearly the owners of the property can develop the property. But they strongly endorse and beg that we'll open Street 1. If we're going to put that many houses on there, help them get out in the event of an emergency. Going down Street 1 to North Phoenix Road. They support the applicant's request to delay so that that can be studied and opened. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Abel?
Yes.
Before you disappear, Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. You submitted a letter dated November 21st into the record. Is that correct, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Abel? And your thoughts today are reflected in that letter
Yes,
as
they
well,
are.
correct?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. And again, just to make sure, it's pretty clear that you and your clients would much more favor the extension of First Street to the west to connect to North Phoenix and have as minimal disruption as possible to Coeur d'Alene and not disturb, as you point out, the local nature of that street that was designed only to serve those residents.
I would say that's an understatement, Mr. Whitlock. Obviously, my involvement here confirms their strong concerns about the impact on their quiet enjoyment of life with the plan that's currently before this commission.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I actually have something for you as well.
Thank you, Ms.
So, to my understanding, they are not opposed to development or to this development. We didn't hear anything, I mean, to the extent that they can be. So they would like to see First Street be implemented. They don't mind streets C and B, or maybe at least C, and we haven't heard anything about the obstruction of the view or enjoyment of their view.
Well, with limited time here, if you read some of the public comments, I know that
Correct.
Mrs. Lohman, in fact, submitted some comments to the record, trying to keep the comments concise for the public hearing. And once you start adding more clients to the mix, I'd say there's a divergence of opinions on some of the questions you raise. But if I could consolidate them into one opinion, that is First Street and then closing A or B so that we're not, the less traffic we put onto what was supposed to be a closed street, coal mine, the better. The
Okay.
better, that's the uniform solution. I think others and some of the other neighbors have even stronger opinions, but clearly the question is, we had a deal on Coeur d'Alene. We
Yeah.
had a deal. And suddenly we feel like maybe you're not wanting to honor the deal we made to develop Coeur d'Alene. Thank you.
Thanks.
Were you going to say something, Mr. Thomas?
I just needed some help from Kelly a little bit. So I'm on the Planning Commission and I'm the liaison to this commission. And I just want the audience to understand the two different commissions. So the Planning Commission, and Kelly's going to correct everything I say because it's going to all be wrong, is that this fight, as far as whether you could build it or not build it, was in front of the Planning Commission a year and a half ago, which was when it was zoned so this could be built. What we can do is we can work as hard as we can and Mr. Whitlock and others have worked really hard at trying to come up with a solution for the exception request. But if that reception request wasn't there, all we're looking at is the site and architecture of the design, which is pretty much now state standards that you can build it to this height, it has to look like this, and if it doesn't, it's a no, if it does, it's a yes. So I don't want people to think if we vote for the project, it's because we don't want to kill the project. That was decided a long time ago, and if you go back to the minutes, you can find out who voted yes and no, but that's different now. Correct, Kelly, about what we can, and so we can work really hard on the transportation piece, but we can't just say, hey, you can't build the complex there. I disagree, as one commissioner, about how you can have something zoned commercial but build residential housing there, but that's just my personal concern, but that's still in the ordinance. So I just want the audience to understand, and the record to understand what our commission can do versus what the planning commission has already decided.
Kelly,
Can I
did you want-
respond? Yes, thank you. So you're correct, Commissioner Thomas. The Planning Commission has authority over zone changes, and the way the code is structured in the city of Medford is that we look at infrastructure impacts at the time of zoning. So we look at water, sewer, street, and storm drain facilities at that time. So there were 2 zone changes on these properties, one in 2022 and one in 2023. And that was where the intersection controls at Coal Mine and North Phoenix and Coal Mine at Quarter Lane were decided. So and to Mr. Abel's comment about protecting Quarter Lane, that actually was a result of the zone changes. To the Buchanans, we talk a whole lot about Quarter Lane because, as Mr. Abel mentioned, it was not designed to carry more than 8 the traffic from 8 single-family residences. That's how the cross-section of the street was constructed. So that was considered during the zone change process, and that's why those options, A and C, and all the options have access to Quarter Lane closed. So that was a result of those traffic studies. So at this point, unless the Planning Commission, the applicant requests that the Planning Commission reopen that zone change, the requirement to protect turn movements onto Quarter Lane from Coal Mine stands. So that's something that this commission has no authority over, to be very frank. I think that's all that I had.
Thank you, Ms. Aiken. Mr. Whitlock.
Madam Chair, I was actually hoping to drag Mr. Burrows back up, but I think I can accomplish the same. And the zone change, or actually zone changes that you described, were the mechanism by which the Southeast plan, if you will, to close Coal Mine was changed. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you for asking that question, Mr. Whitlock. So the Southeast Plan was adopted by the City Council in 2000. So it's 25 years old. And when that plan was adopted, the urban growth boundary was Coal Mine Road, and that was a hard line. In 2018, the urban growth boundary was expanded to the south. So it goes, can you show the master plan again, please? It goes actually south, I think it's the southerly line because is that correct? Yeah. Right. So the southerly boundary of the property is the new urban growth boundary. So, so the hard line of Coal Mine Road is no longer hard, and that was decided in 2018 jointly by the City Council and the County Board of Commissioners. So the property is to the south has been annexed, and now is the city is obliged to allow that property to develop as it meets the approval criteria. So when again, Mr. Abel is correct in that the Southeast Plan said that Coal Mine Road was to be closed at North Phoenix. That was before the urban growth boundary was expanded. And so the traffic analysis that has been completed now allows limited movements, right in, right out only on Coal Mine and North Phoenix. Did that answer your question, Mr. Whitlock?
It did, thank you. And I think I really more wanted to make it clear to the audience that there have been basically some planning commission actions that have modified the southeast plan, particularly with the movements related to Coal Mine Road.
Yes, thank you. Are there any other members of the audience that wish to come forward and speak? Mr. Farrington, it looked like you had something to add.
Thank you. For the record again, Tanner Farrington, Fire Marshal. Just wanted to address a couple of the comments in case anybody else wanted to come back up again. Without looking at the information on the records requests, just wanted to address the comments about the increase in call volumes. I want to be careful on what I say here, but generally I would say across the city, we're seeing an increase in call volumes. We have and we do year to year. We're building more homes, more dwelling units, more business, and so we do see an increase. I don't want to say that and detract from potential increases in traffic accidents or calls related to other reasons, but I just wanted to clarify, we do generally see an increase in number of responses. And then appreciated the comments on emergency evacuation and the threat that a lot of people in this community probably felt during Almeida. And without coming up and saying I'm from the government and I know best, I just wanted to say that in my professional opinion, I do think the changes, kind of the applicant's interest in the First Street connection, even if Coal Mine goes away, the change to add First Street and then have traffic going onto Coal Mine from the north at Wanapero would help alleviate some of those concerns. Great point that Coal Mine is a busy road. It's going to get real busy if we have some sort of an evacuation for the variety of natural hazards that Medford has. Having that separation, it makes it easier, and I think will make that traffic flow a little bit better. So, just wanted to add those comments. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any questions on any of that? Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, if there are no other members of the audience that wish to come forward, Mr. Horton, do you have any comments to add based on anyone's testimony? I do not. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind asking Mr. Horton to come back. I just want to talk with you briefly, if you wouldn't mind, regarding the appropriate date for continuance. It seems, I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to accomplish between this meeting and the next, but it probably has to do with the design of the intersection, the completion of it.
Basically the traffic.
The bottom line is, I was wondering, and I don't know what sort of business we have on the first meeting in December 5, Kelly, is there anything else other than possibly continuing this?
No.
What about the following meeting, whatever date that works out to?
We do have an item scheduled for December 19th.
I guess I would like to ask if you would consider agreeing to a continuance until the 19th.
I think that's reasonable. We've got some homework to do. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted to make sure you were comfortable with it.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then we will go ahead and keep the public hearing open if no one else has any other comments, staff or commission. Okay, we'll go ahead and keep, Mr.
Dr. Perslow, if you'd like to talk to you with me about your records requests afterwards, I'm happy to speak with you.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and keep the public hearing open and look at a motion to continue to the December 19th hearing. We'll go ahead and start with Haya Park 1A. Do we have...
Since all these are the same, does it matter if we combine the motions for all three into one?
I think as long as it's clear, I think that's fine.
Okay, that would make it easier, wouldn't it? Especially since Mr. Whitlock's probably going to make the motion.
It's not like me to want to make things shorter, but Madam Chair, I'd move the commission continue item AC 25-190 item AC 25-191 and exceptional request E 25-324 to the November
December 19th.
19th meeting at noon,
December
December 19th, 2025 meeting at noon, leaving open the public record and the public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Pierce.
Yes.
Ms. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Akery.
Yes.
Mr. Whitlock.
Yes.
We have 5 yeses.
Very good, the motion passes. Any other discussion? Okay, we'll move on to item 60, which is written communications, and there are none. Item 70 is new business, and there are none. Item 80 is report from the planning department. By the way, thank you all for taking your time today to come forward and testify. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon again, Commissioners. I'm Kelly Aiken with your Planning Department. A reminder, we have the Boards and Commission luncheon on January 22nd. I think we handed out invitations last meeting. We will not have business for December 5th. We do have business for December 19th. So we have 2 items scheduled now, or 2 projects scheduled for the 19th, and then I don't have anything scheduled for the first January meeting. We will try really hard to cancel January 2nd, Friday in the middle of a holiday weekend, so we're working hard on that. Let's see. The City Council has been paying attention to our commissions and have noted some decorum issues with a couple different bodies, and so they've asked us to conduct some training focusing on decorum and expectations for commissioner behaviors. And then our HR department may also get involved and do some harassment training, just so y'all know that that's going to be upcoming. City Council last Wednesday, sorry, it's not Thursday. They did approve the commission membership 2.0, so they did vote to reduce this body's membership from 9 to 7 by removing 2 at-large positions was their decision. So we'll take a look at the best way to reduce the number. Attrition is the natural way to do so, so we'll take a look at that. There'll be more discussion on that matter. Let's see what else. Coming up at the next City Council meeting, there's 2 amendments that are actually related to the work you do. One is driveway access, so they're talking about massaging the code language around access to, I think, collector streets, and kind of clarifying and relieving some of those limitations. And then also working on a proportionate share code amendment. The proportionate share is exactly what was discussed today with the 2 zone changes that are part of the applications we heard today, where they're putting forth a proportionate share of the cost of the signals. So we're actually codifying that language. And so that's going up to City Council on December the 3rd. And so there's that. I wanted to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your service and your time today and your thoughtfulness. This is an interesting project, and we appreciate you. If you travel, please travel safely. Enjoy your time with your friends and family, and we'll see you in December.
Kelly, so there's 9 positions, and how many of them are at large?
5.
Oh, because I remember we did actually get rid of was it landscape? And
Yes.
then architect, was
Yes,
it?
the landscape
Okay.
professional, yes,
Yeah.
was converted, yes.
I was going to ask, I don't recall, I thought it used to say when our terms ended.
January 31st. So your terms run from February 1 through January 31.
Yeah, because I don't recall when mine renews.
I have I actually printed it this morning, so I have that information with me.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions? Mr. Whitlock?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Kelly, I just want to make sure that I saw in some of the diagrams that came up on the screen today something that looked like option 5 or something like that. And will we be seeing kind of a refined version of what this First Street extension, the elimination of A, and the modified option C at the next meeting
Yes.
discussing this? Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Kelly. Item 90 is messages and papers from the chair, and I have nothing. Item 100 is propositions and remarks from the commission. Anyone? All right, that brings us to 110, which is adjournment. Have a wonderful vacation or weekend and holiday next week.